Welcome to the Bite-Sized Brilliance Podcast. I'm your host, April Darley, and today we're going to talk about world building. So, I get a lot of my inspiration from visual cues. If you are into the woo woo stuff, I am clairvoyant. So, I do see messages from my spirit team in my mind's eye or through patterns that I pick up out in the wild, right? In the world. It could be movies, it could be a podcast, an article I read, all sorts of things provide inspiration. And I have now seen this phrase twice. So, and it's intrigued me, it's caught my attention both times I've seen it. And the phrase is called world building. So I know that this is a sign from my guides that I need to sit up and pay attention to this. So, if you're not familiar with the concept of world building, you've already experienced it. If you have played a video game, read a fiction series, watched a series of movies, you are familiar with world building. So, at its most basic, it is a story that is describing a community, people, places, all of these elements, and then it's tying them together. And so the first book, if you will, may focus on a main character and certain supporting characters, but it's going to tell you about the location setting. You're going to be introduced to a baker, the bakery, the general store, the gym, right? And then the next book in the series might have a crime or something that takes place at the gym. So each book or each game or series is building on the world that was created in the first one. And I think about this, I have not seen these movies in a really long time, but I'm inspired to go back and watch them, but The Matrix and Inception. So those two movies are talking about the deep levels of creating a new reality based on the world that you build. And I absolutely love that because it is making the impossible possible. And from what I do remember about The Matrix, Neo was trying to do the jump, right? It was the big thing everybody had to do, and you had to basically leap a tall building in a single bound from one building to the next that would defy the laws of gravity as we know it. It was seemingly impossible. And Neo, much like the other people, absolutely failed the first time they tried it because they had not gotten this one fundamental concept, and that is all things are possible. All things are happening somewhere, sometime at once. Everything, everywhere at once. And Marvel's done a great job with the multiverse and its physics, its quantum mechanics. And so you may be hearing a lot about that, collapsing timelines, stepping into your highest self right now. But the fundamental concept you want to get is this world building concept. And if you can begin to believe that everything is possible for you, this is how you're going to shift from a place where you feel stuck, where you are currently living in a reality that there are elements of it that you do not want, that you don't like. Maybe there's financial hardship, you feel lonely, you're in a job you don't care for. There's some element that if you were the designer of your life, you would do it different. But here's the real thing, you are the designer of your life. If only you believe that you are. And if you create a world, what would it look like? If you listen to the last episode of this podcast about childhood archetypes, then this is a little bit of a follow up that possibly somewhere along your timeline, somewhere along your life, somebody made you think, feel, or believe that what you wanted was bad or not possible for you to achieve. And you shut down desire. You stopped wanting things. And as a physician and a coach, I saw this a lot when people came from abusive childhoods or domestic violence, that they literally could not tell you what they wanted because it was a means of survival, that they had to go along people pleasing. and their own desires were less important than the most dominant person in their scenario. Okay. So, tuning into your own desires, what you want, and allowing yourself to begin to feel want and desire again is a big step when it comes to shifting your reality or world building. Because if you don't know what you want, then anything can happen. And an example I often use in my practice is it's like going to a restaurant, sitting down, and the waiter is going to come up and say, "What would you like to order?" And you would just say, "I don't know, bring me anything." And the waiter's going to get really frustrated and press you, "No, that's not how this works. What is it? What do you want?" And if you keep going, anything. So the waiter gives up, comes back, and gives you a tuna fish sandwich. And you're like, "Ugh, I hate tuna fish. So gross." But see, you basically left it up to somebody else to do things for you. That's a very reactive way to live. It's a people pleasing, it's a trauma response way to live. And you didn't like tuna fish. So you are clear on some of the things that you don't like. But now it's about flipping that thinking to what do I do like? What do I want? Because I guarantee you there is a piece inside of you that knows exactly what you want. It knows exactly what kind of world you would create for yourself and others, what type of reality that you want to live. And it's that piece that is also frustrated when you aren't currently in that reality. So, your goal, your job is to figure out what you want and start moving toward that. Start allowing yourself to feel desire and want again. And detaching from any resentment, anger, or bitterness, detaching from looking at what you want through the lens of your current reality. Because if you listen to last episode, I grew up wanting a lot of things, but my reality was I was a poor kid on a chicken farm in the middle of nowhere. But yet I wanted certain things in life. And I eventually shut down those wants because I got so tired of disappointment and my parents telling me that what I wanted was impossible for me. So, yes, there is trauma, there is stuff, but that stuff is just programming that you can alt control delete on. You can delete that programming and reboot yourself. And one way you do that is through retuning into what you want. Now, some people are really out of touch with that. So here's an exercise that you can do. Write down a list of everything you know for sure that you do not want in your reality right now. You do not want to work 40 hours a week, 9 to 5. You do not want to work in an office. You do not want to struggle with bills every month. You do not want to make X amount of dollars every month. You do not want to be gaslighted by your friends or your partner. All right. So make a list of everything you know you for sure you do not want, and then flip the coin on that. So if you do not want to work 9 to 5, 40 hours a week, what is the opposite of that? It might be as simple as shifting the schedule to part time or flipping it to maybe night shift is more your speed because you're a night owl. Or it might be becoming an entrepreneur. And how do you want to be treated? So if your partner or friends or family aren't treating you very well, then what's the opposite of that? Is it unconditional love, acceptance? Is it someone listening to what you have to say and taking your opinions into account? So flip it that everything you don't want, flip it around and think really hard about what you do want, because that is the basic step of world building. Because until you know what you really want, the universe might be bringing you tuna fish sandwiches all the time. And then you're stuck in this cycle of frustration. And where your focus goes, your energy flows. So we just need to redirect that focus, that energy by giving the waiter, which is the universe, a very specific order. I want this. And not only do I want you to write it down, what you don't want, and then on the other column, write down what you do want. I actually want you to start saying that out loud. I want this. Because speaking it out loud speaks it into existence. And that's just one more level of positive creation. So make your list, figure out what you want, speak your wants and desires out loud. And that's how you begin to get back into the habit of want and desire. But you also have to set that foundation of it's possible to get what you want. It's possible that you can allow yourself to receive that. It's possible that some version of you somewhere else out in the multiverse already has it, and it can be yours. And you can merge that reality and make that desire your reality. Okay. So I hope this was helpful. And if you love more of this type of stuff, I would love it if you would jump on my email list. You can go to aprildarley.com, and at the bottom of every single page, there's an opportunity for you to opt in and get more tips that are designed to help you shift your mindset into one of joy and creation instead of pain and anger, right? I want to tune you into possibility instead of pain. And that is what my website, my work, all the things are about right now. And please join me on that journey. There's a lot of ways you can connect with me. Read the blogs, like the podcast, share it with your friends, jump on the mailing list. So many things. I've even got a Facebook community right now. I just started at the time of this recording. It's only a few days old, but it's called Clued In, Finding Joy and Solving Life's Mysteries. So I'd love to see you over there as well. You can find that information on my LinkedIn profile, Dr. April Darley. I'll drop some links below in the show notes, but I want you to be a member of my positive and supportive community because I am here for you, my friends. And part of this space is tuning into what do you want? What do you desire? And together, let's make it happen. Until next week, my friends, goodbye.